coming live here with a tender heart. I want to be vulnerable with you all. This is a tender time right now. Right now we are in December 2021, the Great Awakening. We're entered the solstice portal, and there's a lot of stuff being, or energy being pulled up. And if there's stuff to clear, it will be cleared because we are on the trajectory of creating a 5D consciousness and a 5D collective. So let me know in the comments, are you feeling vulnerable and tender too? Are you feeling some old wounding? Are you feeling some childhood trauma resurfacing? And are you kind of like, what is going on? I already thought I dealt with this. So we're going to talk about this today. And I'm going to give you a few exercises to kind of soothe this because it can be painful. My name's Rebecca Abraxas. We're here remembering our greatness together and seeing what's next on this path of the Great Awakening. So yeah, if you could use some extra support during this challenging time, look in the descriptions and go to my website, RebeccaAbraxas.com. I have lots of different ways to support you, including online courses, working with me personally with intuitive mentoring, or just through custom sound healing. So, all right, so being vulnerable is scary, but sometimes being vulnerable and tender is what's required to really get to the bottom of some of this childhood trauma that may be steeped in lineage trauma. So are you the healer for your lineage? Maybe. If it keeps coming back and you've healed it personally and keeps coming back, there's a high probability that you might be the portal for healing a whole lineage. And it is what it is. And so whatever we signed up for, one, you can kind of cut the ties from that. If you've tried that and it's still there, it's yours to do. So here we are. Here we are feeling vulnerable. I know last night for me, I was really triggered by something my teen did, and I could feel that it was very old. And I was in very deep despair last night. And under the anger was despair and deep grief. And this morning after meditation, I realized some really intense old programming that I have been creating my life with. And that old programming is, I want to make things better. I'm here to make things better for my childhood family, for the family I have with my kids. I'm going to make things better. I'm going to make things better in the world. I'm going to make things better in the universe. And my route for that is to try hard, to give more, to be more. And this flawed program is creating a lot of tension in my life right now, because there's some people that are just going through stuff, the world's going through stuff, and having things be better is kind of like a flawed paradigm here. And so what I notice, I have to graduate from this program into the program of transmuting energy into higher consciousness. And higher consciousness means that I take my blinders off and really see what's there. And when I see what's really there, it's painful. When I see what's really there, I can see where I've been living from and being, knowing, doing from. And it's really uncomfortable. And last night, there was so much despair. I don't know if you've ever felt like this, where I just felt like, gosh, like I really don't even want to live anymore. Like this is so hard, you know? And it's hard because all that trying and all that doing wasn't making things better. And yeah, this is really hard to talk about, but you know, if my story can be of value or contribution to your healing journey, then I tell the story here. But what came through in my meditation was that you can't give, be, or do enough for someone that's not being enough in their own lives and for themselves. And that's including me too. So here we are wrapped up in this like ancestral conundrum all of us trying to be, do, and give as much as we can to decrease suffering in each other's lives. And it's getting exhausting. And I'm realizing I was really triggered around that. And so now I've got to back up. I've got to take a deeper look to some really intense feelings I have around my teen years, where, life got really uncomfortable. My parents checked out. They had their own healing crisis, and I really tried to be the rock, and I tried to be, just not let it affect me. And in reality, I put a lot of protection up. I put a lot of, wasn't protection, armor. Armor is the better word. And now it's time to feel it. Now it's time to feel it. Now I'm strong enough and safe enough to feel it now. And so I was in the shower this morning, and I wailed and I cried and I moved the energy, and it's a very raw and vulnerable day. This energy's got to move. It's got to move some way. And so one of the practices I'm going to show you today is moving it through sound, the sound of your voice. Okay. And the other way I'm going to show you is through breath. So the Great Awakening is challenging us to really let go of old programming, really let go of responsibility and expectations, really let go of saving and rescuing and fixing. People have to come to their Great Awakening on their own. And while we can be uplifters and we can rally for people's joy and commune together, and we can be the vibration of love and light and joy and passion, and perhaps someone will be uplifted by that, their healing journey is theirs. And until they reach out a hand to you and ask for something, we really have no business being there. And that's what I'm getting myself, is that how many times have I tried to be the helper, the fixer, the rescuer for my family lineage, my childhood family, my current family. And my teens are like, get away. These beings come in, with higher consciousness. My teens are like, leave me the freak alone. And we're in a lot of contrast. We're having some really intense times in our family. And part of me is grateful, because here it is, triggered me to really face some deeper stuff that's helping me transmute denser frequencies into higher frequency and higher consciousness. And this is what is required if we're going to really step into a 5D collective and grow that for our Earth. So let's dive in a little bit. Here is a practice that you can do, a vocal toning practice that you can do. Okay, the first part is called the 7 Sounds of Love. You might have seen in other videos on my site, on my channel. But basically, you're going to tone the chakras through these 7 sounds, and then you're going to come down and say, "How I love thee." And this really puts us into a state of receiving and enoughness. And then from there, you're going to go into a part of your body that you feel a tension, where you feel kind of this density, where you feel like this old program is kind of living. For me, it's been my heart and throat. And you're going to go there, and you're going to Om as you become aware of this tension and this vibration and how it's shifting. And you Om until it starts shifting. That's the practice. Okay. And if you are having a hard time moving your voice, like if you are in a really vulnerable stage and it's really hard to move your voice, then you can start with the breathing activity that I want to show you. Because last night, literally, I was so contracted that moving my voice was just not even a possibility. So this is what you can do when that's happening. This will help you get into the space of being able to move your voice and get into this practice. So here it is. This is a breathing practice by Thich Nhat Hanh. You're going to do 4 cycles of breathing. And the first cycle, you're going to say to yourself during the in and the out some different things. So if you're sitting and you're breathing, you're going to notice the inhale, notice the exhale. Then on this first cycle, you're going to go say to yourself on the inhale, in. You're going to say to yourself on the exhale, out. On the second cycle, you're going to breathe in and say to yourself, deep. On the exhale, you're going to say to yourself, slow. On the next inhale, you're going to say to yourself, calm. And on the exhale, ease. On the fourth cycle, you're going to breathe in and say to yourself, smile. And on the exhale, release. And so this practice is 4 cycles of breath, but you can do this 4 cycles over and over again, saying these words to yourself until you feel a little release, okay? Now, to be honest, last night I found this practice this morning. What I did last night was I did some tapping so that I could release some of the despair before I went to sleep. So tapping is a really great exercise too, to release this intensity of the activation. So whether you do it with the breath work or the tapping, then you may be ready to move your voice, which starts calming the nervous system and processing this old programming, okay? So that's where we are right now. I want you to just tone Om. Once you have the place where you feel the tension in your body, where the tension and the old program is activated, you're going to give that place attention and you're going to Om. 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 And you're just going to let that resonate into that body tension, into that old program, and just start letting the frequency of Om start to shift that a bit. Start to give you a little space from the activation. Give you a little awareness, okay? And so this is what I did in my practice this morning before I meditated. And then after I meditated, that's when that line came to me of, you cannot do, be, or give enough to someone who is not enough for themselves. So pull back, work on being enough for yourself, and give when you feel an alignment with the love and the awareness to give, instead of out of an autopilot response to making things better. Okay, now that's my story, but as we know, if someone's feeling something, we're probably not the only person on the planet feeling it. So if you are listening to this and this reminds you of something someone is going through, pass this video on to them. If this is reminding you of something that you're going through, try these practices. Okay, this is how we are releasing the density. We are on this healing journey. We're raising the consciousness and raising the vibration. So, and all of this work prepares us for growing this 5D collective, this higher consciousness on the planet. So I just think that this is what life's about. This is what my life's about, is remembering my greatness, healing the density, moving the energy upward. What is your mission here on the planet? Okay. I recently saw a TikTok and someone said this, that his goal these days is not just to mitigate suffering, but to uplift people into living joy and passion. And as we remember our greatness, one of my first things that I wanted to really work on as a healer was to help people stop suffering, because I suffered so much in my youth. And I wanted to help people to stop suffering. And then when I heard that TikTok, I was like, yeah, that's where I am these days. Let's release the suffering, but let's just up the joy, right? So there's a lot of joy in the 5D collective. So let's play there. All right, beautiful being. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if this was a contribution. And if you're in a really hard place and need that extra support, go over to my website, RebeccaAbraxas.com. All right. Namaste.